Hello and welcome to the jury roundtable for 1984 Fatal Attraction. So we currently have three people remaining in the game. We have Jeff, Nicholas, and Sarah. The jurors are here to discuss the merits of their game to try to help determine who they are going to vote for to win. Obviously, you guys are aware that Nicholas has won part one and Sarah won part two, so the two of them will be competing tomorrow night in part three, where the winner will get to choose who goes with them to the finals, whether it's Jeff or each other. So you guys are free to discuss however you choose. If you want to start just by talking about one juror or one of the finalists, go for it. If you want to talk about all of them, if you want to go week by week, this is your guys' time to determine who you want to represent your season of 1984. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
Who would like to, do we want to do one at a time? Do you want to go?
Maybe I can go first since I am the first juror. Why not?
Go for it. Do whatever you'd like to do, Caleb.
Okay, so based on this whole game that we have played and based on what I've heard and seen, so I will admit that I probably told all of you guys that myself, Jeff, Sarah, Glow, Corey, and Evan had a Final Six alliance called the Resistance. And then I had another alliance with Braden and Missy called the Walton family. But based on the three finalists that I see right now, I know Nicholas wasn't part of any alliances I was in, but I have told him, like, when he was up on the block the 2 weeks when he was the Fatal Attraction, and the fact that he was nominated by, I forget who nominated him, but I know he was nominated around that time too, before that. I told him the first time that he had 0 vote, that he was going to get no votes to evict, and that was the truth. And I told him the second week he'd get 1 vote to evict, and that was the truth. Even though he might have not been in any alliances that much, he started winning competitions later on in the season, and then starting winning, and having power. Like, he's bouncing back and stuff. And I think that's like the bounce back king right there. Like, I think his bouncing back could help him win this game if we vote him to win or whatever. For Sarah, she was doing good at comps in the beginning and then just kind of like somewhat, and then started to win some more later on. And I know Sarah has been a big fan by so many people out there who are watching, and and she was loyal and honest and stuff. But my problem with Jeff, though, is he's only won one competition, and the fact that he's been probably not good at making strategic decisions somewhat. But in my opinion, on his part, not just that he betrayed me by evicting me, but he could have took out the big threat when he still could, because I wasn't that much of a threat. No offense, Drew, but if you and Braden think I was like a floater or something, which that obviously was not true, because I was out there making decisions and doing all I could and fighting hard, because that's what we all come here for. We all come to play a game. And I know that I played hard. But the thing with Jeff is, I don't think Jeff played a good game. He might have been nice and everything and loyal, but I don't think his game was that good based of decision making and based of he only won one competition while the other two have won more competitions. And I know that one of them is going to be the final HOH, as we just heard. Does anybody else want to say anything?
I will say, I am yes, he evicted me, but I am a heavy supporter of Nick. Nick did have an alliance at the beginning, since round, what was it, Jackson? Round 1. Me, Jackson, and Nick were in an alliance since like round 1. Nick was constantly playing a good under the radar game. He always knew what was going on with his connections from me and Jackson, with his connections from Sarah. So he got info from both sides. this entire game, and he used it to his advantage. Also, Nick is, I would say, single-handedly the reason why Sarah is still in this game. Nick saved her twice. He won an HOH and didn't put her up. If it wasn't for Nick saving Sarah, Sarah would have been out of this game. So we do have to give Nick credit for that he was playing his own game by saving Sarah, by keeping Sarah this long. I think it's a mistake keeping Sarah till the final 3. And I think he could have used me to take her out, but that's here nor there. But I don't want to discredit Nick's game. So yes.
I have a question if I'm raising my hand.
You go for it.
Okay. Speaking of Nicholas, I forgot to mention this as well. The fact I was loyal to him the 2 times he was nominated, he probably could have saved me at eviction along with Jeff, and they could have had a shot to take out the big threat. But the problem is that I just don't know why Nicholas would want to like keep Braden though, because he did try to go after him though. And I don't know if Braden's on here.
Yes.
And now's the time to tell the truth, because I've heard that him and Missy wanted to evict Nicholas, and I think Lizzie did also. And I know that they wanted to.
I'm gonna have something to say about that as soon as you're done, Caleb. Okay.
Okay, but I could be wrong though. But that's what I've heard though. But anyways, the fact with that is, even though Nicholas was good at comps, his strategic game, as Drew explained in another line, which I never knew about or was never a part of, but I feel like with him and Jeff keeping Braden for 2 more weeks might have been a mistake, because the only probably reason why Braden and Jackson got evicted after Glow and I was because I called them out when I knew who the threats were. And my problem,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Nick is a huge reason why Braden's out and Jackson's out. Yes, I may have been the reason. I voted for Braden and Jackson broke the tie, but Nick is a huge reason why they are both gone. Nick, full-handedly, maybe not more so Braden, but Jackson. Obviously, Nick won the veto and saved Sarah, forcing me to put up one of the 2 people I wanted to bring to the final 3. And Nick pushed hard, and Nick really was like, Jackson's a huge threat. Jackson's a huge threat. So it really was Nick. Nick actually, I feel like, called a lot of the post-jury shots, if I am being honest.
Nick was a definite like contender come the second half of the game. I just have to say, I personally have been like, Nick needs to go, put Nick up next to Sarah this whole time. And I hate to be that bitch, but I told everybody this was going to happen. Not a single person listened. And it went down exactly the way I said it would. But ultimately, I have to say, I agree with Drew that like Sarah would not be this far if Nick didn't keep saving her. And so like he made a lot of this, like called a lot of the shots, and was in a situation where he was kind of going back and forth and flew under the radar. I also need to say that like, I think Jeff needs to be given more credit. I understand people think that Jeff is a floater, but like he's been on the block more than anybody. Okay, he has not had somebody to take him down over and over and over. And just because you're not a comp beast doesn't mean that you're not like making choices and standing up for something, because Jeff was not afraid to vote against the house. He did not have a problem with that on more than one occasion. I don't think he was a floater. I think he had a stronger social game than maybe you realize.
you do have a point there, because he did vote to evict Mac though when Corey came up with that plan. So you do have a point on that, Missy. I will thought about that. but yeah. But Drew, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask both of you this, because you both got a little farther than I did. But whose idea was it to take me out of the game? Did Nicholas plan that, or did someone else plan that?
Me.
You did that, Drew?
I pushed hard for you to go over Braden. Originally, and you can ask Jackson, Jackson was there. I went to Jackson and I said,
Obviously,
it was really a mixture of me and Jackson because obviously I needed to get Jackson on board to even do it. So I went to Jackson and said, hey, I want to play devil's advocate with you. What if we save Braden? Then Jackson went and thought about it and thought all of his stuff, but I'll obviously let him speak his part of it. But I did push for you to go over Braden.
I did too. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie. There was a whole conversation between me and Braden the night before about letting Drew know the things that Sarah had said, because Sarah was saying some not so positive things when being just as much a part of pushing certain things. And then we also knew that we needed to talk to Jackson. So I feel like ultimately it was just a bunch of going back and forth. And I'm sorry that you got caught in the crossfire, Caleb, but like I needed to make sure Braden didn't go. And no offense, but it kind of sounds like you were perfectly fine with Braden going. So I did what I had to do. I'm sorry.
well, I had to do what I had to save myself, and that's why I had to call him and Jackson out, because I knew who the threats were, and I've seen it from day one. And
But they weren't the threat. Sarah was the threat. Hello. Nick was the threat. Hello. Look who's
Let's
sitting.
just say all of us were threats.
I don't
just say
feel like I
that.
was a threat. I
I'm
feel
gonna-
like I was the weird lady.
I'm gonna say I know Jackson's been trying to talk, so I'll let Jackson.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jackson.
Oh, go ahead,
Oh, you're
Jackson.
fine. No, I was just going back to the Jeff thing. I agree with what you guys have said. I feel like he didn't need to win comps because the social game was that good. So I don't think him not winning enough comps should be an issue when voting. With him, I think he needs to really highlight his social game and kind of, tell us why he made the connections he did, and how that helped him maneuver strategically. Yeah, that's what I got for him.
I will say something on Jeff too. I may have nominated him the most out of everyone in this game, and he was still willing to work with me, which shows I always believe you should never close a door because you never know when you need it. And Jeff proved that by continuously still wanting to work with me, even though I did put him up. So I do think his social game was there, but like Jackson said, he needs to describe it. Yes.
Also strategy, because he had told me that he felt like Sarah and Nick would beat him ultimately. So like, yeah, I do think he had strategic things in mind. He just wasn't winning a lot of comps, but
Thank you, Missy, as I'm taking this out of this.
sorry,
That's okay.
my bad.
So Drew, my question for you was, I think you won HOH on, you did nominate Sarah around that time. Wasn't that week 3 or 4?
I didn't nominate Sarah till week 9.
Because I know you nominated her
Week 9.
week 9. Okay.
It should have been her. It should have been her and Nick, not her and Jeff. So.
Well, I was kind of surprised that when you won HOH and got me out, I thought you were going to put her up next to Jeff, since you did try hard to get Evan out of this house, and you're like, you know what? Let's try hard and get Sarah and Jeff out because I put them up before.
That's not the reason I put Sarah and Jeff up, because I wanted Sarah out and I didn't want to piss off I wasn't ever going to put Missy up. I didn't want to piss off Jackson and Nick by putting one of them up. So Jeff was just the next option. Should have put Nick up, but that, again, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Then Sarah would have been out. Jackson would have still been here.
I'll be having a lot of questions for those 3 finalists when that time comes, because there's a lot to be said, like especially after what happened on my week, because I feel like my week there was lots of chaos going on, because it's like once me and Glow were gone, you guys were gonna have to turn on each other eventually.
Which was always the plan. I will say, Nick and I did always say, and I do believe Jackson was there too, but I do heavily know, talking to Nick, the plan was always Braden at 7, Sarah at 5. Clearly Braden got out at 7. Sarah clearly didn't get out at 5, even though he could have. But that was always the plan, was Braden 7, 7, 7. It just happened to get pushed to 9. I didn't feel comfortable with doing it at 9, so that's why I turned it back on you. So Nick had his hand in so many different plans come jury. He
I knew
played
it
it
was
out
going to be
very
the
well.
swing vote because he wasn't part of the alliance, but I was kind of surprised that Jeff evicted me because he never, I don't think he ever talked with me before my eviction. I know Sarah and Glow did, and Nicholas did, but he was the swing vote, as I know, because he wasn't part of the alliance. And Sarah just went with the majority because it would have been 4-2, and I would have still been gone. But if Jeff did that, it would have been a tie, and then just like you said, you would have evicted me just like that. And but if Nicholas did vote with me as well, then Braden would have gone home. And to be honest, I don't think I would have done good at that next HOH competition, anyways. That Braden won, I would have sucked at it. But still, though, I felt like I thought that was the votes that were going to go. I thought it was going to be either 3-3 or 4-2 and send Braden home. Either Braden would go home or the votes would tie and I'd go home.
Yeah. But I guess we can talk about, I guess, Sarah's game. We haven't talked a lot about her. So I know she's this quote unquote huge threat, but I'd like to hear from you all what you think makes her that, because in my eyes, I think Nick has played a better game than Sarah.
I think she has a big old fan club is what I think. I think she's got a good social game. She's very sweet as a person, super easy to like. Like me and her were openly gunning for each other that whole time. And I still like her as a person. You know what I mean? So I'm sure someday I'll be a cheerleader for her. It ain't today, but like at some point, I'm sure I'll be a cheerleader. So I do feel like that's not just an outside world thing. I think she had a lot of people like rooting for her in the game because she is a likable person. And that's what made her a threat. That
Sure.
100%.
Well, my vote's based on either her or Nicholas, because even though Nicholas wasn't part of any alliances until I heard from Drew, and the fact he's in comps, I'm still considering maybe voting Nicholas to win, and possibly Sarah, and maybe Jeff if he has made decisions. I could be wrong though, but I just have to ask him when either he gets evicted or if he gets to the final two. But I think with Sarah though, as Drew's question, I was really loyal with Sarah the whole time, and she was loyal with me. But like I said, my eviction pretty much explains who all the traitors were and all the people who did not have my back and the people who did have my back. Santa Glow. But I do think Sarah was loyal to me, but
Caleb, I literally had your back like way more than anybody in this entire
Braden
game.
did. You have no idea, Caleb. Like so much. We had a whole agreement to make sure that I didn't come for you at any point because I didn't trust you, because I knew that you were working with Sarah, and Braden covered you with me and other people. So like, nah, that wasn't
With
a traitor.
not with like other people, but literally everybody.
Yeah. Like
I
he had
honestly-
your back. You should know that.
I'm honestly when I was on the block, when I had all those negative answers to the questions like a wake up call, going home next, not invited to Thanksgiving, or some other one, which I keep forgetting because there's so many questions, and Jackson getting all the positive ones. Like I thought Jackson was the reason why I got evicted. If he told Drew something to get me up there, and Drew was like, "Oh no, I can't let that happen. I got to get this guy out of here as fast as I can."
No,
Honestly, I'm sorry. Go on, Jackson.
no, I was just gonna say I told Drew like I had no issues winning HOH and taking him out myself. So it was really up to Drew. I didn't really care, but you just happened to go.
But I do respect you as a person, Jackson, even if you did put me up on week 2 next to Kendall. I know
Kendall
me.
didn't talk like at all.
Yeah, right. Kendall did not talk at all throughout this game, so we don't have to worry about her. But anyways, Jackson, I do
I just have to tell y'all, I'm still mad that I was not chosen for the person you wouldn't take to Thanksgiving. That was some bullshit.
I was
That's
very
all I'm
mad at
saying.
all the negative ones.
I would have been fine with that one.
I actually guessed Missy for that question.
And that would have been fitting for me. I'm like, have y'all heard my
I
vocabulary?
know. Nobody else understands. It's because nobody was in the room during all of our conversations.
If I wasn't invited for Thanksgiving, I probably would throw food all over the place, be like, you guys didn't invite me to Thanksgiving. Take this. Boom.
Eric asked me for that question. That people wouldn't want me over for Thanksgiving.
What?
Yeah, she guessed me for that question.
Oh,
That's
Sarah was.
part of why I was like, Sarah, what the fuck?
Sarah told me that's the only comp she threw because she knew she was already going to lose. So she was throwing answers because I flat out asked her, I said, have you thrown any comps? And she said, no, just the touchy subject one because I already knew I was losing. So I didn't want to.
Even though I've lost every comp, I was trying to win every comp because usually sometimes if you throw competitions, you get backstabbed or backdoored or whatever, and be like, you made a terrible
Yeah,
mistake.
I don't throw comps either.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't.
unless
Yeah.
I have a very
Yeah.
unless I'm already HOH, I won't throw comps. If I'm HOH and I already have gotten blood on my hands that round, like I straight up will throw a comp. I threw
didn't
the
throw any
nice
comps.
move comp.
Yeah, and then that got Sarah to stay because Nick won. So.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
I actually like I do have kind of a confession about that. Like
fully my intention was for Sarah to stay like from the beginning of that round.
Yes, I caught that. I caught
How-
that.
Yeah.
And how,
And I was
and how,
fucking pissed.
and how did that help you the next round? Didn't you go the next round?
Can I just say that's part of my frustration? I
Yeah,
think, with
but-
Sarah is every person
yeah, but
that
at the
has saved
same
her went
time-
out the next round.
Well, but
This
at
whole
the same
season
time, like
frustrating.
Sarah was fully like Sarah and I had I not gotten out the next round, she and I fully would have continued to work together the rest of the game. Like she
Sarah
would have
She was
voted to keep
part.
you
She
were
was
working with-
part of the reason you
She's
left.
the
You have
reason
no
you
idea how
left.
hard she was pushing you.
Huge. She pushed you so.
It was not for
hard.
you.
It was massive. She told me everything you were saying to her, and that's why I kept on telling you I don't trust anything you say. You're saying the same thing to other people. She was throwing you under the bus, left and right. Guaranteed you were the one to go and not her. She did it hard.
She also knew though that I was the only person that she could stay next to.
And it kept her, so that is true.
Oh
But
shit.
she was good. Everyone keeps on saying, I was good with Sarah, I was good with Sarah, I was good with Sarah. That's how she made you feel. But who was
Not
she
me.
truly with? That's what
Nick.
I want to know. Nick is the one I think, yes, but who? Because she said
Yeah, definitely Nick.
everybody,
That's a tough one.
everybody.
It's not tough. She was with Nick. That
Which
whole
is
time.
ironic because that was
I've heard seen
that
her
was
using the
the-
veto.
that
That
was because
explains
like
a lot.
she was good with everybody, like, and I was telling everybody that, but y'all wanted to say it was me.
Oh, look, there's Braden's face. Hi, Braden.
I was
Finally
finishing
got to see
an
that.
Instacart order.
So I'm just saying, Sarah made that is a plus for her because she made
Yeah.
everyone feel like you were her person. But if she's doing that, I do agree, Nick. But
Like I was
who
used.
truly was she with? Like, she always preached, you could trust me, you can trust me, you can trust me. But if she's saying that to everyone, can you really trust her? Is the thing.
I feel like she was genuinely close to Evan because her
Yeah,
and
oh,
Glow
yeah.
tried talking me into saving Evan. And then
Yeah.
I do feel like she had Glow as well.
Yes.
And then
Just
Nick.
like Tyler from the real Big Brother 20 who made final 2 deals with everybody. That's what I think.
She offered me a final 2 at some point. Did she offer anyone else a final 2?
I think she got me in as well.
Yeah. So she.
Now we were openly coming for each other.
I didn't accept her final 2 because obviously I had a final 2, so I wasn't going to accept another one. But that is a plus for her game.
Drew, I still think that Missy would have kept me over you in a vote.
I don't think so.
We're not doing this right now.
I was fully gonna call her out.
I
knew you were, friend.
I knew
you were.
the round, and I know this is talking about the jury, but I knew the round, your HOH round, that regardless of what you said, I heard it from Missy. I was gonna go on the block, So I use that to my advantage, telling you could put me up so I could twist it and make it to my benefit instead of yours. So that's why I offered myself. I would have never offered myself if I didn't already know you were going to put me up because of Missy. So Missy telling me everything, I don't know if she told you everything about me, but
I did.
I
did.
I actually,
I'm sorry.
I actually, in hindsight, like up until you came to me and offered, I didn't know if I was gonna put up you or Nick.
gotcha. She told me you were 100% putting me up. so-
Thought he was.
After Nick won veto, I basically had to, yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, yes, Braden could have put up Sarah, Nick as well, but I do think I fought for Nick to not get put up that round to Braden. So I did protect Nick as well, and he did not. He clearly threw Jackson and we were nothing to him. He just said, nope, bye. See y'all.
I
later."
honestly, like, I should have gotten you out during my HOH, and I heavily considered it, but like ultimately, like I made the decision to influence Jeff to keep you because he was going to vote you out. Glow had gotten to him.
Want to know something funny? On the week Braden won HOH, like right after I got evicted, the second highest, it was a three-way tie between Nicholas, Sarah, and Jeff.
I know. I noticed that.
I just have to say, y'all, honestly, because like, apart from Mac, who left very early, the people that I was closest to.
That was my fault.
Yes,
Yes.
I know.
And
We're
Jeff-
not going to talk about that. I'm still mad. But
And it is,
Nominated. Did that.
and I will say, it is, I'm not saying it's your fault, but Caleb and Jeff give us false hope the week Lizzie left when we could have got Nick out that week because Jackson was going to do it. I was going to do it. Braden
I was going to do
and then
it.
Caleb, you
Nick
let
was left,
everybody
and
think it was Jackson. I was kind of a bitch to Jackson, accusing him because
I
I
never
trusted
said
you.
it was Jackson.
Yeah, but you let
you
people
said you-
think that.
You blamed and made
No,
it
it's
look like it
not.
was.
Don't play with me, Caleb.
I'm not playing. Hey, I'm already evicted, and I'm telling the truth.
I
do not
was
do
kind
that.
of a bitch about it. But what I was gonna say is I was close with Drew, Braden, and Jackson, and
Jackson
watching the
told me
three of
Corey
them
told him,
sometimes
so
go for
Corey
each
would have
other.
done something. Jackson told me Corey told him, and I never told Corey about any of that. So I'm assuming Corey was probably the one being all the
Ooh,
secret.
no question though, Jackson, were you like originally in
Corey.
final two with Corey? Because like I was convinced y'all were a duo for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Gross. I mean, oh, that's cool.
But Corey did tell you though that I was coming after you, but I never told him about blaming things on you or anything.
Now listen, y'all's war was the best part of this game. I've said it so many times because y'all are both semi-introverts. So I'm like, what are they gonna do? Stare at each other to death? It was amazing. It's my favorite thing.
I knew I couldn't trust Corey, but I was going to take him out when the time comes because I knew he was making decisions in our alliance. And I'm like, I'm not going to let this person try to lead me into something because I know that if it
That's
was
okay. I was out for blood.
because if it was me and him in the final two, he would have beaten me easily.
No,
And I
we
wasn't
wouldn't.
going to sit.
No.
No, he wouldn't.
No.
No.
Nah, man, nah.
But he was making decisions, and I never got to.
That
make a
that was his
decision.
problem, is how he was making them and the things he was saying to make that happen.
Oh yeah.
I would-
Also, Brayden, speaking of which, remember when you confronted me about you bossing me around?
Yeah.
I did tell that to Corey actually. So yeah,
Dude,
that was
I
kinda
never
my
bossed
fault.
you around at all for anything. I never even told you how to vote.
I thought you did though, the way you were talking, but I understand what you're saying now.
The only
I'm-
thing that I semi-bossed you around about, and I never bossed you around about your vote. I literally told you every round to vote whatever you thought was best for your game. And I told you what I thought was best for your game, even though it wasn't always what was best for my game. But I will say during the color competition, the color wheel, the only
Mhm.
reason I was telling you what to pick was so that it was different from everybody else that I wanted to win.
Yeah,
I wanted
and some of them I did follow you with, and some of them I might have didn't. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check that out. But however, though, I will say this though about Mac and Lizzie. Basically, those two decisions was, well, Max was Corey's idea. Lizzie was kind of my idea, kind of me and Corey at the same time. because if Missy was evicted, I'd go up as the fatal attraction, and I was already on the block. That's why, Missy, I was fighting for you to stay.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was your fatal attraction. I spaced that. What?
We had to do that round. Jackson and I had to do massive damage control with Nick.
Okay, just do it.
Massive, because
I did too.
because Caleb leaked to Nick that we were going to vote him out. So we had to be like,
Yeah.
Nick, that's where your game went down. Sorry about it. Me and Jackson had to throw you under the bus to Nick hard, saying it was all your idea. You're the reason he was going to go home. You're trying to pin it on us. We were never going to vote him out. So sorry. We kind of.
I can't believe Nicholas fell for that, because I was honest with him those 2 weeks he was on the
Oh,
block.
I know you were, but
I felt
he-
so
he had-
great
I
for
think
Nick
he
him.
said
told me he didn't trust you right after you
Oh.
told him that you knew that Mac was gonna go, basically.
And
And
he
that's when
told me
I
he
found
told
out
him
that
that.
you
I was confident the
had
whole time,
bullshitted.
and I was confident with it the whole time, and that's how the votes went. And then I thought he would
Never
trust
be
me like
confident in a
100%.
game like this.
No, it's because he already had me and Jackson. That's what helped. That's what hurt you in that. And obviously he was going to believe us over you. So sorry, we did paint you that way. Again, Nick has been playing this game from day one. I am an avid Nick supporter. I think, and Braden, you can go ahead, because I do want to know your thoughts on Nick as well. But I think he's been playing the best, well-rounded game. He didn't rely on anybody else to get him here.
I would honestly say, like, the reason why I would vote for Nick, the reason why I don't see myself voting for Nick is not because I don't think Nick played an incredibly great game. Like, he'll fully deserve to be in the final two. And if y'all vote for him to win, like, he'll fully deserve it. And I think I would vote for him to win next to other people. But like, the reason I feel like he shouldn't be given credit for Sarah staying is for a number of reasons. Like, first of all, Sarah stayed loyal to him the entire game. So like, of course, if they were a final two, of course Nick would want to save her, because she was always going to be in his corner and save him. And also, like, she single-handedly like helped Nick stay the round that Mac went, because Nick was fully going to get like votes and possibly go, and she made sure that that didn't happen. And so I feel like we shouldn't discredit Sarah, because like, Sarah still went up on the block like so many times and multiple times. Sometimes she stayed because she won veto. Sometimes she stayed because she played a social game and got herself to stay. Like, sometimes she stayed because like her loyalty to Nick helped her stay. And so like, she was in the line of fire way more often. And part of that was because like Nick was completely inactive like the first two rounds of the game.
I think you're overhyping Sarah, if I'm being honest. I agree. She plays a really
I do
great
too.
social game, but I think you're way overhyping her and underhyping Nick. This is from my opinion, obviously. It's everyone's
Like Nick
opinion.
saved her three
Nick
times.
saved way more. He saved her way more than she did. I will
Wait a second though.
Let me go through this. So all the time Sarah was up. Sarah's up round one. She saved herself.
Yeah.
Sarah was up round 3, and that's where she saved herself by the 5-4 vote against Mac. She was up round 5 as the fatal attraction. I was saving her because I saved her because I wanted Evan gone.
It wasn't Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of the only other people who has saved her.
I thought
Round
she was
7,
HOH, and then she was the fatal attraction.
yeah, exactly. Round 7, she was up. Nick saved her. Round 8, she was up and stayed over you. Round 9, she was up. Nick saved her. Nick saved her more times than she got out of her own undoing.
That's also not true, because, well, it may not be true,
It may not be a
because
smart
if
move.
Sarah wins this final HOH, and there's a great chance she will, then she takes Nick to the final two, then she would have saved Nick 3 times that she was HOH.
He was up 2 times, and that could be another reason as well.
Yeah, and also like, there were multiple rounds I noticed, at least one veto where Sarah let Nick win the veto so that he could take her off and keep himself safe so he wouldn't be renominated.
No way.
So there was
Are we
like the
sure-
soup
are we
can
sure she-
challenge,
Are we sure she
I knew
let
you were
him?
talking about the soup can challenge.
because there was the soup can challenge where I'm pretty sure I watched that she dropped on purpose so Nick could win that veto. And I'm interested to question her because she could have done the same thing during Knight's moves.
Kind of did see that as well because that comp didn't last long because that comp could have gone on for an hour, just like that 2-liter bottle
Yeah.
that you and Sarah are battling on.
Yeah, and I'm interested to hear about how many comps Sarah threw to Nick because most of those comps she was second place to ensure that Nick kept his own safety and was able to keep her safe as well.
Do you know what I wonder though? Are Nick and Sarah going to bring each other to the end? Because that last
Mhm.
match, they went on for like an hour and a half
They
past
didn't
when
need
Juju.
to. They both. I was gonna go regardless. So they
Yeah,
didn't
so
need
Yeah,
like
I know.
I
That was
kind
what
of
was
feel like
crazy.
maybe they're
I
not
thought Nick was
100%.
trying to take Drew. I thought Nick was trying to take Drew to the final 3 because Drew was going to take Nick to the final 2 over Sarah. So I felt like it would have been more strategic for Nick to keep Drew, and it would have been like a stronger game move because I don't know if Jeff gets carried to the end by Nick or Sarah, he's going to get my vote. Like
He'll get my vote as well.
I do not support or respect gameplay where people take like the person that deserves to win the most, like to the end.
I think his game is just.
I'll
solid.
always vote for the quote unquote GOAT in that situation.
Well,
I think he deserves to win just as much as the other two. He just had a different gameplay. Like he wasn't a comp beast, but he played. And he stood by the people he cared about, which ultimately, by the way, Caleb,
That's true.
the reason he voted you out is because he did have loyalty to Brayden and was
Yeah.
not going to take out Brayden and
What?
was not willing. Yeah. And was
but
not
he told
like
me he wanted him
wasn't-
out though. He's told me that for weeks.
He
Yeah, no, that was a lot.
100% had Braden's back. He told the round that it was
Through
Sarah versus
everything.
Braden, he said, I gave Braden my word. I was never going to vote for him. I was sticking to it no matter what that round. So he had huge loyalty to Braden. That's why he did it.
Yeah.
and
Jeff
was
and I
not
have
afraid
more
to
loyalty
stand up
than me.
against the majority.
I'm gonna have a long time.
Honestly, like had I known that Missy was like, had she ever been honest with me about the fact that she was final 2 with Drew, I would have made a final 2 with Jeff.
Don't be mad at me. I felt like you were closer to Sarah, and let's be honest, there were things about Sarah you weren't telling me, like through the night's competition.
Like I told Sarah multiple times that I was always going to be loyal to you, more to you than her.
I know,
and I
but
told
you were
multiple
almost
times.
just as loyal to her. And the problem is that, and I kept saying, like, I have to tell all of y'all, I felt crazy 90% of this game and gaslighted because I'm like, she's going to win. And everybody bullshitted me. Okay. No, I'm doing something right now. I am on my soapbox. Go. Everybody bullshitted me. And here she is at the end. Okay. So am I low key a little bit bitter? Yes. And she like, I'm half tempted to give her my vote just to prove a fucking point.
Here's
Because
exactly
I said
what
it.
Jeff told me.
But also,
I'm
Missy,
petty.
like Drew had Sarah's back, like
All of y'all did.
Yeah, but like it was kind of like weird to me because like based on our actions alone, like Drew had Sarah's back more than I had Sarah's back. And I was telling you constantly that like
I won more than you. So you could have done the same thing. It's just because
Honestly, I felt like y'all cared about me, but I felt like for whatever reason, there was loyalty on every end to her in some way or another. And I knew why, because that she is a dangerous social player. And I knew that. It just sucks. And it really sucks seeing it unfold exactly the way I said it would. It sucks seeing people I cared about go out the very next round after saving her. And it happened multiple times. So that's my frustration is I'm like, I was genuinely for the people I said I was genuinely for y'all. It just, nobody heard me because everybody thought they were Sarah's fucking person.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say right now about this.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
it was
Thank you.
lots of interruptions are happening. But however, though, here's what I have to say about Jeff and all that, and with Sarah. If they got to the final 2, though, I honestly feel like Sarah did play a better game than Jeff because I went back to double check, and Jeff said that every eviction that we've talked on, he said he wanted to go with what the group wanted and everything. I mean, Jeff didn't want to make any decisions.
He went against the group on multiple occasions. We talked about it.
I don't
He
think that was a
followed through
good
on his
game.
word. You don't think it was a good what?
I don't think that was a good game. Going with the when he could be
He
making
wasn't.
decisions well, just like how I was, now we all were.
Trust me when I say he didn't just go with the people. That was the one person
Yeah,
in the
no,
house
he
the
did.
entire game that I felt was probably the realist, because he wasn't afraid to piss people off. He knew who he cared about, and he knew he wasn't willing to do, like, he wanted to
Yeah.
give the people he cared about a fighting chance. And the other thing I will say is that he did not have a real final two to get him
Mm-mm.
through to the end. He did this on his own. I
I
understand that
will
it
agree
seems
on
like
that.
he's a floater, but I am not going to let his game be downplayed because it shouldn't be.
I agree. I fully agree. Yeah.
Well, I will ask him what kind of game decisions he's made, and then we'll see if I can
I
buy
mean,
that.
Can
I
I,
could tell you what game decisions he made. Like he ultimately like could have voted Sarah out the round that she
I'm
was
gonna
up
ask
and
him
Matt
that
went
too.
home. Like he ultimately was like the deciding vote in that situation. Next to you, by the way, like both of you were the swing votes. Also, wasn't he the swing vote the round that who was it? Glow, the round that Glow went, he was the swing vote.
Yeah, I
The
didn't know that
round-
because I was picked before her.
Yeah, the round that I went, and he was a swing vote the round, like he was a swing vote both the rounds that I stayed.
Swing vote is both sides.
Yeah, he did
Oh,
play both sides at one point, but it was after Mac left that he was pretty much on mine and Missy's side the rest of the game.
he did tell me too. He's like, listen, the reason I did that Mac vote, it's not that I had a particular choice. It's that nobody was talking.
No,
to me.
Sarah was the only one campaigning for him.
Yeah. So like the only one group of people really reached out to him. He didn't have a whole lot of options. Then he wasn't in the know about what was going on. So like I'll give him that. I'm like, damn, you're right. I should have said something. But I thought you were close to David.
I'm surprised Jeff got very far when me and him were playing both sides. I'm surprised he got far and I got around.
Because you were
Social game.
lying constantly, Caleb. Like Jeff was honest and you were constantly lying. Like why would you be confused about why Jeff made it farther than you? Because like I don't understand all these people who it's like I get that like people have to lie in games where they might win $100,000, and I get that these games are kind of like practice, but like I don't understand why people in orgs feel like lying
Well,
is like a
I
strategy to
understand
win.
I did lie on some things.
And that goes for Drew too, though. Like Drew, at least to me, Drew lied so many times when he didn't have to.
Drew, do you have something to say?
no, because I don't need, this isn't my time to be dragged into things. I did what I had to do.
Everybody's been dragged into things, though.
I'm
I was
just
dragged
saying,
into everything.
I did what I had to do. I didn't trust you from the moment after the Evan thing. Yes, you voted for Evan, but I stopped trusting you. So why would I completely tell you the truth from then on?
Well,
Because I never
only-
lied to you, Drew. Like I never lied to
Oh,
you,
you're
and I
talking to
always
me then.
kept my word to you every single round.
I'm
I
sorry.
never lied to you, and I
I-
always kept my word to you. You can ask Missy.
I knew, but I just did not feel comfortable with you after that.
Well, that's on you, and that's not on me.
yeah.
Like I
so
said,
if I didn't feel
watching
comfortable with you,
y'all
then
go for each
so-
other while adoring you both has been exhausting, by the way. Exhausting. Trying to make sure you were both covered, knowing y'all were coming for each other. It's exhausting.
The week I was
And
addicted
I
was
just-
my
I don't
best
even
and
think
And
I
I'm
was
just gonna-
ever.
And I'm just
Huh?
going to say, I did not like when you strong armed me so many times. So yeah, that made
When did I
you
strong
strong
arm
armed me
you?
so much.
When did I strong arm you?
You threaten me with votes. Oh, if you do this, you're not going to get my vote in the end. And then you like threaten me to like vote a certain way or do a certain thing if I didn't do what you
When
want.
I want
Yeah.
specific
I don't have to
examples.
chat anymore, but I'm just going to say that's how what you did a couple rounds. You can ask me.
I
can ask
need,
Missy.
like
I
if you're
told-
going to make claims that I strong armed you, like I need specific examples because I did
Brayden,
not.
There
Brayden,
were
you
multiple
did. You can
occasions
ask
where
Missy.
other
You
people
did.
said the same thing. A lot of people felt like you were strong arming them in it. And you know how sometimes I'd be like, go about it, just stay calm. Don't go about it this way. Just try and stay calm. calm and be kind, be graceful. That's why, because people kept coming to me saying they felt strong armed.
But why would they do? Because there's no specific examples that anybody has. When I have to save myself by getting votes, like, of course, I'm going to put a lot of pressure on somebody.
I'm
But
the same
like,
thing.
when in what position did I ever? I was never a person who decided things. Like,
the thing
never.
is, I don't think that you meant it to come off as strong arming for what it's worth. I think what you felt was putting pressure, other people felt was like passive aggressive threats. And like I
When it
caught on
comes
to
to like
that.
voting to keep yourself, like that's part of it. Like when you're
I
when
get
you're trying to win votes to keep yourself, like that's part of it. And like you can be upset that I'm strong arming somebody to like vote to keep me, but like that's what you have to do. Like, but like this whole idea that I ever strong armed Drew into who he should put up, that never happened.
No,
That I ever strong armed Drew
I didn't say it was to put who up. No.
or
no.
how you
We're not.
voted. It's
I'm
the
just
same
saying-
thing.
I'm just saying, okay, you don't appreciate me lying kind of game, and you say you have to strong arm to stay. I don't agree with that. So we can agree to disagree. Because I don't think that's a valid way to save yourself.
There's
is
some things I
strong
agree
arming
with,
people.
and there's
So I
There
mean,
is
Drew,
other
did you
ways
just
to
like
agree.
fine. Just-
when you went out in the final four, did you just like go out? Did you not do everything you could to try to convince Nick to not vote you out?
Yeah, but not strong armed. You didn't.
What's the
didn't do-
difference between doing everything you can and
the
strong arming
words,
somebody?
the words you use, and I don't know how to put it right because I'm not the right one to ask to put sentences together. But it's just the words you use and like the tone behind it. Yeah, it wasn't verbal, but yes, I could have misheard it, like misread it. But the way it was typed came across strong arm.
Okay, but I mean that's fine, but
If that's not how you did it, that's how I.
I
interpret it.
can't own that, and I can't agree with you if I'm not even given specific examples.
Well,
from
I
it.
don't have our chat anymore, so I can't give you any examples. So.
I'm just exhausted for.
Oh, I
Every-
have been. That's why I said I don't need to get dragged. I've already been chilling out of this game. I
know I dragged you into something, Drew, but I think I've dragged Jackson in this too, especially when the fact that he nominated me. And speaking of which, I'm going to ask you one more time, Jackson. Did you nominate Kendall and I because of our age? Because we're the
He's
youngest one.
21.
He
He's
said like 100
21.
times that he did not do that.
I'm sorry, but I had to make sure because we're the youngest one. They were like, "Are we too young?" for this?"
Jackson's 21.
Yeah, well, 21 can't be that young. I mean, Evan and Mac are 20.
I promise you.
19 and
it's
21
that
are the
young.
same thing. They're not in the 30s.
The real big brother, it'd be 21 and older.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as you if you compare it to that.
No, 21 and older. But me, Kendall, Evan, and Mac were young. And speaking of which, I could have formed the youngest age alliance if I wanted to. But that would be
You
so
could have
dumb.
if you wanted to.
But how they'll
Do
do
it.
that would be so dumb. Because that's the dumbest alliance anyone can ever make.
You heard nothing of what I said.
I was like, you're on mute, Missy.
I'm over here talking shit. I'm like, except for one of them didn't talk, except for to you, apparently. Like, it had nothing to do with age. It was just a decision. And Kendall didn't talk like at all. She didn't even show up for her own eviction.
Right.
Well, I will say this. I talked to everyone in this game except for Casey. Casey was the only person I did not talk to because Casey came. He started to come in when the eviction came, and Kendall came in nada, zero, negative.
Well, then how are you going to say that that was your final two? Who was your real final two, Caleb?
Okay, well, I don't. It wasn't Kendall. I will say that.
Okay, well, come on. We're in jury now. Who was your real final two? I'm curious. Was it Sarah?
No, it wasn't Sarah.
It was Evan.
Was it Corey?
It was Glow.
Oh.
But you know that Glow like had Evan over. I'm sorry, I won't finish that.
Yeah, like literally, I should have been here. Whatever. Anyway,
I'm sorry,
Um,
Brayden, Missy.
I won't. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna.
so
I'm not gonna-
I have a question though. Before this jury roundtable is over. I want to take a straw poll before we talk to the final two. How would everybody vote in these situations today?
Oh,
That way we
man.
can compare to like how much influence they have on us at the end.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's
So who would vote? Who would vote in a Jeff versus Sarah situation? I would vote Jeff.
I would vote Jeff.
I would vote Sarah.
I'd probably vote Sarah.
But however, though, if I ask Jeff a question,
Jackson would vote
that might seem like
Sarah.
Glow's gonna probably vote Sarah.
Glow is gonna vote Sarah.
And
So
then
Sarah would win in that situation. Who's the last vote?
Nick.
whoever the last jury.
Nick would
Which
vote
will be
Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah.
So that's 5-2. How about in Jeff versus Nick? Would all the same people vote for Nick?
I would-
I'd
Nicholas, yeah.
still vote for Jeff.
I'd vote Jeff.
Nicholas.
Oh,
I'd vote Nick.
so really that would come down to
That's
Glow.
vote.
Glow's vote.
I'm sorry, Glow's vote. Yeah, on my mistake.
Okay,
She-
Nick
she
or
probably would
Sarah?
too.
Now we need to know Nick or Sarah.
Nick.
Nick.
Nick? So I'd vote Sarah. Jackson
Uh,
would vote.
that's a
Jackson
tough
would
one
vote
for me.
Sarah.
I'd be the swing vote on that one.
Well,
Based
Glow
on
would vote
competition.
Sarah.
I'm not sure though what I would do.
Jeff would, I don't know what he would do.
Jeff would probably vote Sarah. I'm almost certain Jeff would vote Sarah.
So that
It
leaves
probably
myself.
depends
three
on
and
what's
Glow
going
as
on
the
right now in
swing
the
vote.
game,
We can go with the
because-
majority or make it 4-3 or close vote.
I will
What did
tell you that
Jackson
Jeff
say?
and Sarah had a very similar relationship in the game that Sarah and I had.
I have to pee. I'll be right back.
I love Jackson's not voting for Nick because he's in the same box that I was. Is why Jackson's not voting for Nick.
Yeah, to me, I don't know if he was like this with anyone else, but his jury management was very piss poor with me. And I just can't respect that under any scenario.
I just can't respect the fact that I was
Yeah.
betrayed by two people.
I have every reason to vote for Nick. Like, what it comes down to is like the fact that the reasons why I would vote for the other people are stronger. Like, Nick was honest and straight up with me the entire game. Like, even when he was coming for me, he was like, I'm coming for you because it's best for my game and because you're a real threat. Like, he didn't ever dick around about what he was going to do. He was always completely honest about it. His loyalties were always the same. Like, I genuinely, like, if either of you, Drew or Jackson, like if either of you guys thought that Nick was ever more loyal to you than Sarah, like that's crazy to me.
Well, at the same time, though, even though I said about my votes now that I would, there's a chance I could change my mind depending on what the final two have to say or anything. Because I'm still thinking of my vote because one, I was betrayed, and two, maybe I'm wrong on who played a better game. I could vote for Jeff though if I wanted to, but I have to make. But I want to hear from the final two and from the final jury member on what they have to say, because I want to vote for who I think played the best game. I know you guys think already, but I'm kind of a swing vote again, just like I was with the whole Mac vote.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Because-
any of y'all have a fun question for the final two?
Did you say a funny question?
A fun question, something that is just like you are dying to know, or is it just going to be like, what strategic moves have you made?
I want to know, like, realistically, like how much Sarah and I want to know, like, how realistically how much Sarah and I's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing, like how much she had my back and how much like she was just gaslighting me. It's going to be my biggest question for her.
My question for well, you probably know my question for Jeff is what strategic decisions, but I haven't had a chance to say what questions I'd have for Nicholas and for Sarah. But I haven't figured that out yet. The good thing is we have till tomorrow, and that'll probably be when I have something to say.
I honestly don't feel like I have a question. I'm like, I knew I was going.
You have your vote locked, Missy, I can tell.
Yeah, I do, because I knew the circumstances of my situation. I wasn't blindsided. I wasn't mad. Had
I was
everybody take a
blindsided.
shot with me as I left. It was very on brand for me. Okay, it was good. It was all right. Like, it sucks that I didn't get to make it further, but like I know how the gameplay went. So I'm like, damn, what am I gonna say during my time?
It did kill me that Nicholas lied to me when he told me he was going to vote Tivik Braden, and he lied to me.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
Nick wanted Braden out that round.
I did not want. Yeah,
was
I did not
Nick
want
wanted
to.
Braden out hard.
Yeah, I wanted to
He
put
did
up
tell me that. He
Sarah
did.
and I wanted to put up Sarah and Nick so bad that round. Like Drew and Jackson saved both of their asses by convincing me to put up Glow. Not convincing by strong arming me, by the way, by telling me that in order to vote for me to stay, I needed to make a deal not to put Nick up.
Okay,
Which,
you're gonna, I'm not gonna, you do what you want to do in your own brain, Braden, but that's not how that combo went. So carry on and think how you want to think.
It might have it happened.
I know what you're
Okay.
talking about, but it wasn't in a strong arm way. I just said,
Okay, well, I mean, apparently, like the way you felt strong armed are completely valid, and the way that I felt strong armed just
No,
aren't, so.
no. I said you think what you want to think. I'm not going to tell someone how they feel, but in my opinion, I did not do it that way. And in your opinion, you didn't do it to me. So, like I said, we're going to agree to disagree, but I'm not going to continue with this. But I know what you're talking about. It definitely did not come across that way, but in my opinion, but it did to you. So, yeah.
I have a serious question for Jackson. Okay, because Casey was not your final two. Did you feel that it was Drew, and is that why you were so upset?
Casey, you mean Corey?
No, you said Casey.
No, he
last
said
time I asked.
Corey. He said
Did he?
Corey.
He
Damn,
said
I drink too
Corey.
much.
He
I
fully
Yeah,
said
drink too
Corey.
much. But like when
said-
Corey left, would you say that your loyalties lied? Because I had trouble figuring it out. I figured it was either Drew or Nick, and I didn't know which one.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I really didn't even know. I mean, I know me and Drew kind of joked about a final two type thing, but we never put a label on it. So I really never made any serious final twos besides Corey.
I'm telling you, had I just known about Missy and Drew, I probably would have made a final two with you,
No,
Jackson.
dude, I
That's
still
when we
had
did
your
that.
back.
We didn't say it for that exact reason. We wanted people to know that we weren't as close
And we
as
still had
were.
our people that we cared about.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting you guys for keeping it secret. I'm just saying I would have played a very different game.
Oh, of
You
course.
know
yeah,
what though?
She-
I did
she
have a whole
supported you
last
hard,
moment
hard.
that I asked Jackson. I was really drunk this night, so I'm sorry, Jackson. I was like, Jackson, am I your final two? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, he's such a liar.
Yeah.
I remember
feel
this
like you know
convo.
what
I remember this.
Yeah,
convo
because
you
I
telling
the
me.
next day I was like, was that necessary, Missy? It was
I
not.
knew I couldn't
thought-
trust Jackson the whole time because every time we talked, he was like, sure, okay, yeah, whatever.
That's-
I knew I couldn't
That's
trust
just
him.
Jackson.
and
No,
that was the
that's
whole
just
thing.
Jackson.
That's Jackson's good at playing the middle. That's what Jackson's good at.
Can
Yeah,
we
well, that
talk
was
about the
dangerous for
cups
me.
moment?
I felt like Jackson was pretty loyal most of the game.
Well, he was, but he's good at he's good at everybody.
If he was at the final two, he'd get my vote for win to win 100%.
I didn't know about the cup incident and Jackson waving until you told me, Caleb. And I went
Yeah, 'cause
back
I
and
was like,
I
no,
watched, and that's
no.
just. I almost died just now. Hang on.
Oh, I do
I
that.
will say Missy pushed and supported you all the time, Braden. So it wasn't that she was.
I know she.
not
I
grateful,
totally
so,
know she did, and I did her too.
for
I know
sure.
you did. We were the hot Cheeto girls.
Yeah, we were the hot Cheeto girls. Yeah.
We were.
There was one more question I wanted to ask too, but I know she's not on here, and that's Glow.
Well, what's the question now?
Too bad we never got to ask her any questions.
She's
I mean-
like, I can't come on here. This could be fun.
Yeah,
Well,
I can't ask her anything.
y'all have been fantastic.
Yeah, I should get back to work.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely interested to see what happens. I will lose. I know you all said you'll lose respect for Nick bringing Jeff. I will lose respect for Nick for not taking out Sarah if he wins this final HOH because he's talked about playing a chess game all game. And if he doesn't take Sarah out at the last moment, it's going to be a slap in my face and it would make me reconsider voting for him. So
I'm going to
I
lose
will
respect
say
to
that.
Nicholas and Jeff for taking me out over a big threat. Sorry, Braden.
No
How are you
problem.
gonna say Brayden was the big threat though, and Sarah's at the end?
Yeah,
This is what I mean.
Sarah was
Nobody
the bigger
listens to me.
threat.
I know. No, it's
Nobody
fine. I
listens
told
to me.
everybody so many times too, but
Like Sarah
because
and Brayden
I genuinely saw like, sure, I was really like, I really cared for Sarah a lot in the game, but like, I genuinely would have voted her out over Drew. I genuinely would have voted her out over Jackson. Like, had you guys gotten out Sarah instead of me, I would have continued to look at you three as my three people. Like, I would have voted out Nick or Glow over you. Well, Glow was
I
gone, but
voted
like,
to keep you, Brayden.
and you guys clearly would have cut me at Final Four too. So like, it was almost like an easy cakewalk to Final Three had you guys just kept.
Wasn't. That's not what I would have done.
Ask,
You were out-
but
you were out at
seriously though,
9.
ask Drew and Jackson. I lost my shit that night when I found out that they were coming for you. I was not okay. I
It
got
didn't
mad,
make
I
any
cried.
sense to me. Like, and it was the same thing in that situation. Like, the exact thing that I was thinking was going to happen if I went happened.
I was shocked after that HOH comp, thinking, "Oh, great! Now I feel like I'm a target," which obviously was a mistake.
Okay, y'all, one turning point, like one question before we all go. What would you say was the biggest turning point of the game or your biggest regret personally? Either or.
biggest turning point is us saving Sarah over Brayden.
My biggest turning point was not selecting my dad to play the loved one comp with me. Because
Aw.
my dad and I like would have won that POV. Like, I absolutely would have, because like my dad and I think the same. He's like my best friend, and he like raised me playing Scrabble,
Oh, you
and
would've
like
been
he's
so
an
good.
English teacher, and I knew that I should have done him for my loved ones comp, but I went with everybody else picking somebody from the org community,
Who'd you pick?
and I picked Casey. She was my final two, and
Oh, and
Bryce.
trust me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I did
I
too.
originally picked Seb because Seb asked me to do it with me, which is the original reason I didn't ask my dad, is because Seb was immediately like, pick me. But then Seb wasn't going to be home in time. So I picked Casey basically in a pinch. But my biggest regret would have been not picking my dad for that comp.
Oh, that's
Um,
sad.
The thing I might have messed up on was probably making mistakes at the veto comp. Actually, I'm going to say HOH and veto comp, because that second HOH comp that we did when we had to, it was categories and stuff. When I put Bella instead of Belle, I knew I spelled it wrong. I'm like, oh shoot, I spelled that wrong. And the fact with the other HOH competition or veto comp was when we did those cards that Michael was doing, and then I end up getting no's over and over again. Like, what is going on? I feel like those are my biggest mistakes I've made in competitions, because I
Don't be
felt
so
like I
hard
could
on
have won
yourself.
the veto competition.
I think you're
or
too hard on yourself, Caleb.
Mhm.
You played amazing. Drew, what
See,
was
the
your
only
moment?
your biggest regret, Caleb, should have been not having a 2-liter bottle during the endurance challenge with Sarah, because I truly
That-
believe you would have beaten her in that.
Oh, thanks,
I
Braden. I
didn't have one
totally
either.
forgot that. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me that,
Yeah,
because I think I would have lasted long in that.
I truly believe you would
I
have.
wouldn't have, y'all. I'm fat.
Oh,
Drew, what's your moment?
I never would have lasted longer than Sarah myself.
Are you talking my moment that
Yeah. Either
not-
that you regret or you think was the biggest turning point. Oh, you said
Well, I said the one where we didn't vote out Sarah, but if me personally not putting up Nick and Sarah at final 6, because then I could have put Jeff up as the replacement. Sarah would have left. I still would have had Jackson on my side. I still would have had you. Nick would have had to stick with me and Jackson at that point.
Right? That's why I was like, Nick is forced to you guys if Sarah goes. Like,
I
he's
know
forced to be with you guys. I wasn't going to be with Nick. I was going to be open about Nick being my target after that.
Yeah. So, but again, I personally don't have regrets. Everything was for a reason, and I felt like it was right at the time, is how I feel. But that is something I would have changed if you want to
I
look at it.
can't say I have any personal regrets. I was like, I felt in danger that whole time. And I was pretty open about like who I was gunning for. She just beat me, and it's fine. She's a cool person, but like, I can't say I did something that fucked up my game. It just I wasn't working with them, and
I had a really good point. Oh, I was gonna say, Drew, like you should still be so proud because you've decimated your best highest placing before this.
yes.
I'm very, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very proud of how I played. I'm proud that I set a record in the series for winning 4 back-to-back comps that I,
Executive comps.
that I was eligible for, and I was 1 away from tying the record in the series. So I'm super proud of my game, even though I would have apparently lost in the final 2, but I'm still proud of the game that I played. So
Absolutely.
Jackson, what was your moment?
To be honest, I don't play with regrets. Everything I did had kind of a purpose. As far as turning points, I mean, probably my HOH. But yeah, I don't play with regrets. So
I have another question for you though.
Sure.
When you said that you wanted to see a female win, a strong female, and you are saying this to the only other female who realizes that you did not want to give up final 2, like, was that your way of being like, oh, I really saw myself in final 2 with Sarah? Like, were y'all really close, or? Because
No,
I
we
wanted
weren't.
to set you on fire in that moment.
Mm-mm.
And then
No.
there was no female winner.
I mean, we don't know. I feel like there's going to be a female winner. I told Jackson, I was like, listen, I'm really down for a female to win too. I just have a preference as to which one that is. It's cool. Okay, y'all, I'm going to go.
All right, guys. Love you all.
y'all, love y'all.
We're
It was
going to
fun.
reconvene
See y'all tomorrow.
See you
It's
Yeah.
not going to be a
tomorrow.
risky day for Missy.
When we crown a winner.
A winner,
Yeah.
baby.
America's
All right.
favorite.
Y'all
guys
have a
sleep
good
well.
day.
I will sign us off here. So thank you guys so much. We will be doing the finale tomorrow night. I believe we'll do 8 o'clock for part 3. So you guys will be needed at 9 o'clock. I'll get you guys all the Zoom link when it's time. We will be going in elimination order. So Caleb will start us off, and then we'll go all the way to our final juror, and then we will crown our winner. If for whatever reason you believe you might not be able to be in attendance, if you want to send me a question to ask, you can do that, as well as a vote for each of the 3 situations, whether that be Nick and Jeff, Jeff and Sarah, or Sarah and Nick. Hopefully you'll be able to make it though, and then we'll do the reunion with awards and stuff after that. So that is all I have for you guys. We're almost done. Just something I always say, when you are thinking of your vote, vote for the person that you want to represent your season of 1984. You guys have played your hearts out this game. This has been a fabulous season. I've loved this season so much. But for the person that you want to represent the 10th season of 1984. So with that, that is all I have for you guys. I will see you guys all tomorrow night.
America's favorite right here.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.